Hello, I'm Dr. Vandana Balchandani, Department of English, DAV PG College. This is the third part of lecture based on Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. Mrs. Dalloway is classified as a hallmark of modernist fiction. It is remarkable for the brilliance and fineness of its construction. So today I will focus more on the techniques and the structure of the novel, the genres, modernist, formalist, feminist, techniques, psychological and stream of consciousness, free, indirect discourse and use of interior monologue. Modernism is a literary movement in the 20th century which has so many characteristics include the use of new style of writing, stream of consciousness, free indirect discourse, formal fragmentation, multiple perspectives and alternatives to traditional narrative forms. Modernism is a movement in literature and art that includes the activities and creations of those who felt a traditional forms of art, literature, religious, faith, philosophy, activities of daily life were becoming ill-fitted to their tasks and outdated in the new economic, social and political environment. Modernism was against the value of realism in the Victorian period, dissatisfied with the current form of the novel of the Edwardians, Bennett, Wells and Galsworthy. Modern fiction examines for a moment an ordinary man, his ordinary mind and an ordinary day. The mind in any day, ordinary day, receives a myriad impressions that may be trivial, fantastic, evanescent, momentary, brief. The writers of modern period, they are interested to capture these may be trivial, evanescent impressions of the mind. Modernist movement, stream of consciousness, a narrative technique which deals with the flow of ideas, thoughts, feelings and sensation of the characters at a specific moment without any logical punctuation and reality. That is a stream of consciousness technique that has been evolved during modernist period. This narrative technique was advanced by many novelists such as James Joyce, Virginia Woolf, William James and William Faulkner. It portrays an individual's point of view by giving the written equivalent of the character's thought process. Virginia Woolf occupies a position of high importance in the 20th century fiction. According to her, proper stuff of a novel is not what takes place outside in the world. It is the inner reality of human beings. In her essay on modern fiction, she writes, "Life is not a series of gig lamps. A gig was a small light carriage pulled by one horse." So here she is rejecting symmetry, linearity. Okay, so life is not a series of gig lamps symmetrically arranged. Life is a luminous halo, a semi-transparent envelope surrounding us from the beginning of consciousness to the end. Luminous hollow, this semi-transparent envelope is the subject of her fiction. She is concerned with the recording of the myriads of impressions, sensations which human receives during a single day. The task of the novelist is to convey this varying, this unknown and unsubscribed spirit, whatever aberration or complexity it may display. Unsubscribed means free from any constraint, unlimited, unrestricted, like our thoughts, sensations, feelings what Woolf called the unknown and unsubscribes. So, a novelist records the actual process of living. He presents or he renders the confused succession of impressions and thoughts and moods that float across the human consciousness. To present the human consciousness, these writers or Virginia Woolf has used stream of consciousness technique. The term stream of consciousness was coined by psychologist William James in the Principles of Psychology 1890 to denote the flow of inner experiences. The experiences that is there in our psyche, in our mind, and how it is continuously flowing. Quote, "It is nothing joined, it flows. A river or a stream is the metaphors by which it is most naturally described. In talking of it hereafter, let's call it the stream of thought, consciousness, or subjective life." Chris Baldick said that stream of consciousness is a style or technique of writing that tries to capture the continuous flow of sense, perception, thoughts, feelings, and memories in the human mind. So, stream of consciousness is a technique, and that deals with the various perception, thought, feeling lying in our psyche, in man's mind, man's psyche, and how these impressions are not static, continuously they are in a state of flux. Stream of consciousness is a narrative style. It is an interior monologue. Interior means talking to self. When a character is talking with self, it is different from soliloquy or aside where the characters are addressing the audience, but here talking to self. It tries to capture a character's thought process in a realistic way. It is mimicking the non-linear way our brains work. Our brain doesn't work in a very linear way, in a very organized, systematized way. This narration includes a lot of free association, looping, repetitions, sensory observation, and strange punctuation and syntax. Authors who use this technique are aiming for emotional and psychological truth. They don't want to tell about the truth of the life which can be observed through the eyes, but which can be felt. They want to show a snapshots of how the brain actually moves from one place to the next. Thought isn't linear. These authors point out we do not really think in logical, very organized way. So that happens in the mind also. This technique helps us to better understand a character's psychological state and world view. It is meant to feel like you have dipped into the stream of the character's consciousness. Virginia Woolf used the stream of consciousness techniques in the majority of her novels such as Mrs. Dalloway, The Ways to the Lighthouse, and Jacob's Room. Virginia Woolf conveys about her stream of consciousness technique, quote, "There would be no plot, no comedy, no tragedy, and no love, interest, or catastrophe in the accepted style. And the great task of the novelist should be to convey this fairing, this myriad, this unknown and circumscribed spirit of man." Woolf renders in her novel the psyche, the soul, the inner life of her characters. She therefore rejects the convention of the well-made 19th century novel. There is no plot, no comedy, no tragedy, no crisis or catastrophe, but merely a record of the actual process of living. How an ordinary mind thinks in an ordinary day about ordinary things. James Joyce and Virginia Woolf. Joyce's characters show their thoughts directly through interior monologue. sometimes in an incoherent and syntactically unorthodox way. Woolf never lets her character's thoughts flow without control and maintains logical and grammatical organization. Her technique is based on the fusion of streams of thought into a third person past tense narrative. She gives the impression of simultaneously connection between the inner and the outer world, the past and the present, speech and silence. Fluidity is the quality of the language which flows following the most integrate thoughts and stretches to express the most intimate feeling. Virginia Woolf brought coherence in incoherent narratives. Here lies her greatness. She differs from James Joyce. Mrs. Dalloway is not chaotic or incoherent or confusing like Ulysses. Mrs. Dalloway is Woolf's first novel in which she has made a brilliant use of the stream of consciousness technique. She has drawn her main attention on recording various impressions which Clarissa receives in a single day. It follows the protagonist through very small area of London from the morning to night. She is mainly interested in interpreting the inner life of her characters. She proves deeper and deeper into the inner consciousness of characters in their psyche. The stream of consciousness is a new style of writing which has two techniques: interior monologue and free indirect speech. Interior monologue is a narrative technique. It records thoughts, feelings and emotions of the human mind with the use of pronoun I. So I and we is significant aspect in interior monologue. The character is talking to self and using first person pronoun. David Lodge affirms that interior monologue is the use of I and we as the grammatical subject of the discourse, as it were over the character, verbalizing his or her thoughts as they occur. So characters are speaking to self using the words for the thoughts which are coming to his or her mind. According to Melham, interior monologue or quoted stream of consciousness presents character's thought stream of verbalized thoughts. Being thus restricted, interior monologue cannot be said fully present the stream of character's consciousness. Interior monologue represents characters speaking silently to themselves and quotes their inner speech, often without making this speech marks. Free indirect style. It presents thoughts as reported speech in the third person past tense, but keeps to the kind of vocabulary that is appropriate to the character and deletes some of the tags like she thought, she wondered, she asked herself, etc. It is different from the interior monologue because it represents the thoughts of the characters without using the first personal pronoun I, but by using the third personal pronoun. So, at times it is difficult to recognize free indirect discourse. Woolf employs free indirect discourse in Mrs. Dalloway. The very first line of the novel suggests this. Mrs. Dalloway said she would buy the flowers by herself. This sentence is an indirect style speech which does not necessarily explain who Mrs. Dalloway is and why she needed to buy flowers. When reading this sentence, the reader will plunge into the middle of an ongoing life. This typifies the presentation of consciousness as a stream. And the other lines in the very beginning of the novels are showing the use of free indirect discourse. What a lark, what a plunge, for so it always seemed to me when, with a little squeak of the hinges, which I can hear now, I burst open the French windows and plunge at Burton into the open air. How fresh, how calm, stiller than this of course. The air was in the early morning, like the flap of a wave, the kiss of a wave, chill and sharp, and yet, for a girl of 18 as I then was, Solomon, feeling as I did, standing there at the open window, that something awful was about to happen. At times, she mixes interior monologue with free indirect discourse. The important aspect of Mrs. Dalloway is that it is not formless. Though it is talking about chaotic, confusing thoughts, but by her execution, brilliance, she has given it a form. Virginia Woolf has made an effective use of the techniques of interior monologue. When Clarissa and Peter Walsh are talking to each other, each of them is at the same time talking inwardly also. Peter here reminds himself that how happy he had felt, how unhappy he had felt when Clarissa refused to marry him. Clarissa also inwardly talks to herself when she looks at Peter, who is playing with knife. She says, "What an extraordinary habit that was always playing with a knife." Lucrezia also talks inwardly to herself at various occasions when she is with her husband. 5 major characters, they move around each other in 2 concentric circles. The action of the novel is limited to a single day in the life of the chief character. R.L. Chamber observes, it is limited especially to a single place, London, and emotionally to the relations of Mrs. Dalloway with some other people. These are skillful association of the psychological time with the clock time. Whenever the Big Ben strikes, there is a shift from past to present, or from one personality to the other. There is a sudden transition in the narration from one character to the other character. When Clarissa is at the marketplace, the author tells what is going on her mind, but suddenly the action shifts from Clarissa's mind to Peter Walsh. Big Ben is a nickname for the great bell of the striking clock at the north end of the Palace of Westminster in London. The chiming of Big Ben marks the transition from one personality to the another, from the past to the present, from one space to another, that is from London to Burton. The novel shows Mrs. Woolf's skill in manipulation both of time, montage, and space, montage. About it, David Tessis remarks, the whole novel is constructed in 2 dimensions of space and time. We either stand still in time or are led to contemplate events in space, or we stand still in space and are allowed to move up and down in the consciousness of the individual. Virginia Woolf has shown great skill in the manipulation of time in the novel. By the clever manipulation of psychological time, she has combined expansiveness and vastness with a narrow framework, and by the effective use of clock time, she has imparted form and order to the stream of consciousness novel. The novelist has used some devices to give clarity and design to the novel. From the beginning till the end, Big Ben's strike is heard. When we shift from one consciousness to another, the striking of the clock indicates the change. Similarly, the backfiring of the motor engine shifts the attention of the reader from Clarissa to Septimus Smith and his wife. Septimus is not in his right mind and he keeps seeing hallucinations. He shouts time and again, "I will kill myself." Septimus' insanity is conveyed through his own thoughts and also through the thoughts of Lucrezia. The horror of Septimus' madness is presented through Lucrezia's terror. The structure and construction of the novel is complex, compact and satisfactory. The main reason of the tight structure of novel is that the whole action is concentrated in the short time span of a single day. It moves between Mrs. Dalloway's preparations for her party during the day and her presiding over it in the evening of the same day. Within this narrow frame, by means of the contacts she makes and the memories they evoke in her and in others, her life story from girlhood to her present age of 50 is gradually unfolded. The story of Septimus, who impinges upon her consciousness early in the day and whose death throws a shadow over her party in the evening is the means of introducing another group of characters, the darker side of life, and a more profound sense of the historic background against which the whole is set. Thus, the novel presents a unity of impression because most of the happenings are closely interconnected with each other. Most of the action of the novel takes place in the minds of the characters. The main concentration of the novelist is on the exploration of the consciousness of various characters. It is interesting to note that the thinking of each character is absolutely different from the thinking of the other characters. But certain links and connections have been provided to produce the unity effect. The whole story of the life of Clarissa is told to us through the context she makes and the person she meets. The novel presents a picture of life in all its colors and varieties. Woolf has excelled in using a compact structure in Mrs. Dalloway. The novel is successful in providing the unity of impression. The incidents of the novel are successfully connected with each other. The action of the novel takes place in the minds of various characters, but the use of stream of consciousness technique does not have any adverse effect on the structure of the novel. In conclusion, I want to say Woolf has succeeded in imposing form and order on what is apparently formless and chaotic stream of consciousness. Mrs. Dalloway is a brilliant achievement in which Woolf has reached the right compromise between the need for formal clarity and the requirement of the stream of consciousness method. Thank you.